Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. This is going to be a fun video. It's one that I've been waiting to do for a long time, and I've had kind of a joke going back and forth between myself and Buckeye Ballistics. If you follow both of our channels, you might have seen some of the comments going back and forth about him saying, well, now you'll never get this type of gun. Well, that type of gun that we've been talking about is an M1 carbine, and I finally have one. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. That's right, I finally picked up an M1 carbine. I have been looking at these in stores off and on for 2 or 3 years, maybe even a little bit longer, and they either are way too expensive for a really ratty gun, or you end up finding a post-war commercial model that looks like it's in good shape, but it's kind of a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get. So I've been holding out for something that really strikes my fancy, that is a actual, mid-year war model, or something that's at least been refurbished by an arsenal that's reputable for quite a while. And again, these cost way too much for what they are. I did something I said I would never do, which was put a pretty expensive gun on a credit card. But with the Cabela's Club card, I get cash back, and I ended up getting a little bit of perks on top of that. So that's really why I bought this specific gun. Now, this particular one is an Underwood manufacturing, which were only made for a couple of years, 1943 to 44 or 45. This particular model, both the receiver and the barrel, are dated 1943. And as we go through this video, I'll show you just about every single part on this gun, except for the stock and the rear sight, I believe, are factory original to this particular gun. The rear sights were all converted post-war to this adjustable style. Now, I had looked at other brands like the Universal Manufacturing, which were made in Florida, and the early Universal guns were actually made with a lot of military parts. But the later ones, which are the ones that I've seen, as you see here in a blued model or here in a stainless steel model, typically are the much later production ones that were made in the 1970s, and these had some quality issues, so it's kind of a crapshoot if you buy one of these newer models. They did things like changing out the trigger guard to aluminum from steel, which could cause some excessive wear and rattling of the magazine. They also went to a two-piece recoil spring, and in some cases these cause trouble. So again, what really struck my fancy about this gun? Well, I can show you right here on the rear of the receiver. It has that flaming bomb, which is the ordnance bomb, which means this was actually a military tested gun. If you look at the receiver, M1 carbine, Cal 30 M1. On the charging handle, here again, you can see that flaming bomb cartouche, meaning that this part was probably original to this gun, or at least a military tested gun. Underneath the trigger guard, again, the flaming bomb cartouche, which again means that this was a military accepted part. And as I go down the stock, I'll drop a picture here in a little bit, but this is not the original stock to the Underwood manufacturing gun. There are manufacturer's codes underneath the sling that tell you what it was made for, and this was like a Inland Manufacturing or something like that stock. Here again, as we go up the barrel, you can see that there is a P proof mark, which means the barrel was proofed, a very nice flaming cartouche, and you can see there the manufacturer Underwood from 1943. Every part on these original guns was struck with the manufacturer's information on it, whether they were made by Inland Manufacturing or Underwood or any of the other various companies that made them. So throughout the entire build of this gun, every part that they make would have a manufacturer's mark on it. So here on the back of the receiver, again, you can see the flaming bomb cartouche. You can see it again here on the charging handle. You can see that flaming bomb cartouche and 7 of 1943 on the barrel. You can tell that this was a replacement rear sight. Here's a nice picture of the oiler bottle that is holding the rear of the sling on. And these I don't think were made by the specific manufacturers Underwood. They were probably made by another contract company. This is the bottom of the trigger guard, again with that flaming cartouche. A side image of that adjustable rear sight, which were all put on after the war. a top view of that rear sight where you can see the graduated sight from 100 to 300 meters. The rear butt plate, which is the right one for the year and manufacture. And then here inside the magazine well, on the magazine release itself and in the mag well, you can see that U with the 2 dots stating Underwood. And on the front sight, you can also see that U with the 2 dots stating that it's an Underwood part. So again, I never really rush into these purchases. I spent 2 or 3 days researching all the local shops around me that had World War II version M1 carbines, and this one was kind of in the median of the price ranges. And as far as I could tell, it's 100% complete, mostly original, and I don't think it's ever been refinished. Reading online, a lot of the websites say that if these have been refinished, what happens is you end up losing a lot of the machine marks on the receiver, and this one looks like it's never been touched. So I got kind of a lesser known of the post-war models, but it's an earlier model that still has the same push button safety versus that flip lever style safety, and it appears to be in 100% original condition with the exception of the stock and that rear sight. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for checking out my Underwood Manufacturing M1 carbine. This is going to be a sweet little shooter. It's a super light rifle. I did not get into the history of this rifle that much. If you want to do that, both Lucky Gunner and ForgottenWeapons.com talk a lot about this rifle and its history, its use in the military, and things like that as well. I don't want to get into the history too much. I just wanted to show you my rifle. And thank you for joining me on this video. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you want to. It really helps out the channel, as it's going to take me a lot of time to pay this guy off. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day. God bless America. Make sure you support your 2A rights. Get out there and shoot. And you remember, if somebody asks you to give up some of your freedom for the greater good, you remind them that freedom is the greater good.